Hi, I'm Chris Sims, Chief Community Architect with First Integrity Mortgage.
Hi, I'm Tom Lubiewski, Community Ambassador, as well as a Senior Mortgage Banker with First Integrity Mortgage Services.
Tom, I'm so excited to have you here. You have been one of those guys in our industry. You've been in this business for 25 years, I think?
Yeah, 25 years. I started when I was either 2 or 3, I forget.
And I'm telling you, and you're not completely bald yet.
No, almost,
Uh,
almost. Hey, I get to save money on hair products.
That's right. That's right. That's awesome. Tom, I wanted to ask you a few questions. You know, as we sit and look back as to why loan officers make a choice,
hmm
you made the choice to come to First Integrity.
Yes.
What was some of the big reasons why?
I think the first thing is the name, integrity. That's always something that I've prided myself on in business, is integrity and making sure that I'm ethically doing the right thing for all of my clients.
So, Tom, we're so excited to have you on board. And when you first came and sat down and talked with us, and we talked about our core values, you really lit up. You got excited about the core values.
Yeah,
Tell me
and I'm sorry, Chris, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but
wow,
I'll tell you the core values of First Integrity Mortgage really struck home with me because that's something that these four things are something that really I've also prided myself on throughout my business for the last 25 years.
let's talk about be real.
Okay.
All right.
So be real. So be real is a funny one because when my wife Molly and I got married, the priest, he said, "Do you remember those commercials that the cheese commercials where they would stamp it and it said real?
That's right.
Do you
That's
remember
right. I
this?"
do.
So the priest talked about me and Molly, and he said, "You know, these two, when you think about these two, think about that stamp, be real." So I've always prided myself on being real. I'm not a stuffed shirt. I've never taken myself too seriously.
Right.
Besides when I'm working with a client, I do take myself very seriously when I'm working with a client. But outside of that, I'm a bit of a clown.
That's,
So I enjoy being real.
we've really enjoyed having you around on the team too, because you have lightened the mood for sure.
Oh boy. I enjoy being around people. I enjoy interaction with people, goofing around and when it's time to get down to business,
Right.
obviously I'm down to business, but uh, uh, one thing that I learned years ago was just do not take myself too seriously.
Completely agree, especially in this business, right? I
Right.
mean, all the ups and downs that you can have, it can be a lot.
Mhm.
Having it roll off your back, so to speak, makes it a little bit easier. So
Absolutely.
with that, let's talk about the next one, right?
Mhm.
Own it. Own
Mhm.
it's one of those pieces in our industry, right? That there's a sales versus ops mentality.
Sure.
And one of the things we wanted to embrace was that our team would own it, regardless of whose responsibility something was. Everybody owned it. What's that meant for you?
Well, I'll tell you, I think that being a loan officer, you have to own everything yourself. Now, we talk about the team owning it, right? But I think that, say something that was to go wrong with a transaction, whether it be the appraiser putting additional, the appraiser or the underwriter putting additional condition on there, I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to take responsibility for that. I'm going to call my realtor. One thing that I like to do is when you're owning it, you have to own it right away.
Right.
If you don't call that realtor right away and say, "Hey, I think we have an issue here. Now, I have a solution." That's what I'm always doing is I want to find that solution. And that kind of takes us into our next one, but I want to find that solution prior to even calling that realtor. Here's the problem. Here's what we're going to do to fix it. I'm not concerned about this, but I just wanted to let you know. It's better to own it and blame it on yourself than, oh, the underwriter did this or my processor forgot to submit this. No, that's my team. That's who makes us run. It's my fault.
Appreciate you saying that because it really does get overlooked sometimes. And to know that truly is everybody that needs to own it in that team, not just the loan officer, not just the loan coordinator, not just the underwriter, as we like to call them, wizards of yes, right?
Yes.
Collectively, everybody needs to own that piece. So truly appreciate that.
100%.
So as you kind of were leading into that, create solutions, right? I mean, that's really kind of our job as a solutions provider, as loan officers, right?
Sure.
So collectively, what does it mean to you for not just you to create solutions, but the entire team to hold that responsibility?
Sure. So, Chris, I know, some things about your family and, you guys are at doctors a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we are.
So if one doctor can't figure out a solution, what happens?
Well, Tom, in my experience, they send me out the door with some medicine and just hope for the best.
That's it?
Unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, here, I guess we're a little different than doctors.
That's true.
So, if there's a problem with the minds that we have on our team, if we all put our heads together and really think about what the problem is and start gathering solutions. Maybe your solution's different than mine. Maybe our underwriter's solution is different than ours.
Right.
If we all put our heads together and create those solutions, I think we're 100% better than anyone around.
Completely agree. I think the team really has to own the solution, right? It can't just be one person responsible for it. We all have some value and input, experience that brings a piece of that puzzle back to the table that kind of helps.
Well, and you
get
have
that done.
different experience than I do.
True.
Right?
That's a true story.
And the underwriter has different experience than both of us. And we might even draw in the CEO. He has different experience. So we want to make sure that we find the correct solution with all of our minds together.
Good deal. Own it, create solutions, win together. Win together.
Okay.
All right, Tom, the last one that we really try to aspire to is winning together, right?
Sure.
And I think we've kind of been talking about that with our owning it and creating solutions. I mean, obviously team is one of those things that this family really values.
Right.
What's it meant for you?
And I think, just as you just mentioned, all of these come together for win together.
You're right. They
right?
really do.
So all of these things, own it, be real, and create solutions. All of that comes so that we can all win together.
Tom, since you've been a part of our community, which we've been excited about,
Yeah.
what's it meant for you?
I'll tell you what, you guys are super involved in the community. One thing that, Molly and I have 2 sets of twins, right? And both of them, both sets were born prematurely. So we're huge into March of Dimes. We were actually community ambassadors in 2018, I think it was, for the whole March of Dimes community here in St. Louis. So
Wow.
when I came to talk with you guys and heard about your community involvement and everything that you guys do for the community, and everything that you guys what we're really looking to do at First Integrity is to make better communities for each one of our clients. So that was very important to me and again drew me to this company.
Yep. Completely agree. We recognize that it's not just our community in the office, but it's our community as a whole, right?
100%.
It's our responsibility to be a part of it all. So we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Tom, as we think about the industry today, it's not an easy market.
No.
There's a lot going on. Inventory is super, super low. So one of the biggest problems we're running into is we have plenty of buyers, but they can't find a property.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you think that we need to do together as a team, as an industry, to kind of make those changes a little bit more, to make better opportunity for the market itself?
Sure, that's a great question. We were talking. I have these agents that are tremendous. I've worked with them for a long time. They had one client. Okay. And they couldn't find a house for this client. They were looking all over the place and they just couldn't find what the client liked. They were out one day, and the client said to him, "That house right there across the street, I would love that house. If they were selling that house, I would buy that house." So my agent friend went and knocked on the door. She wasn't scared to knock on that door. She was actually excited to knock on that door. She knocked on the door and said, "Hey, I'm I don't know if I want to say the name. I'm should I?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Betty Morgan with Berkshire Hathaway Realtors, and I'm showing my client this house across the street, and they decided they wanted to see your house. Have you guys ever considered selling?" And it was crazy because the homeowners said that they had just been talking over the weekend about selling the property and moving, and they were looking for a sign.
Can't have a better sign than somebody knocking on your door.
Exactly. So they decided to sell the house to my client.
Yeah.
And since then, Neil and Sandra have bought several houses and done several loans with me.
Wow.
Just because Betty knocked on that door.
Yeah.
And I love that story. And that story relates to what's going on today. There's a shortage of listings out there. You never know what the person in that house might be going through. They may be, COVID led to a lot of divorces. Maybe they're in a situation where their credit cards are way high and they can't afford the house anymore, even though they have a 2% interest rate. Yeah. They might not be able to afford that house anymore. So I think that agents should get back to knocking on doors.
Well, and so that's something we've been talking about, right? Is that the opportunity for you to work with the agents and your past relationships, your past clients, to help identify opportunities that they might not even realize they have, right? If you're a customer with $25,000 or $30,000 in debt at a 25% interest rate, it might make sense for you to sell your house at a 2.5% interest rate to pay off that debt and buy another property, so you can either move up or maybe move down a little bit.
Could be the same sort of house. You could move next door, maybe.
That's a true story, because it might be better. Right?
Yes. Yes.
That's right.
I mean, my sister just moved 2 streets over.
Wow.
She was at, I think we had her at 3.5% interest, and they did go up to about 6, but they were able to pay off some debt, sell their house at a premium price, and move into a house that's bigger for their family.
Yep.
And much nicer, and they actually live in Newtown. So they got on the beach district, which is evidently
that's a great area.
Evidently is a great area. I don't know too much about Newtown, but super cool over there. And so the point to that, excuse me, the point to that is you might move right next door,
right,
and pay off all your debt. And yes, your interest rate might go up from that 2-3%, but your payments may go down.
Yes. Yeah, I think overall in this particular situation, you saw the customer saving quite a few. I mean, several $100s.
It was close to $750 a month.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it gets back to, we really don't understand the value of equity we have today, right? In our homes, we think about, well, I bought my house 7, 8, maybe 10 years ago, and I might have paid $200 for it or $250 for it, and so it might be worth $285 today.
Right.
Customers are really surprised when they find out they might be able to sell it for $400,000, right?
Sure.
So there is some different opportunities out there that as we continue to create solutions and find ways to adjust to this market that we're in.
Exactly, and win together, right?
That's right. That's right.
I purchased my home about 5 years ago, and it's pretty much doubled in value.
That's amazing.
It has been.
Yeah.
I told the realtor how much I thought I would want to get for it someday, and she said, "Not in this area. You'll never get that for it." And guess what? It just appraised for over what I told her I was going to get for it.
Power to the north side, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
That's
sir.
right.
Yes, sir. One other thing that that I think we need to talk about here, Chris, is do you have a 2% interest rate just so you can tell your neighbors?
Well, Tom, that's a great question because the last time I went to the grocery store, I didn't buy things in terms of an interest rate.
You didn't?
I didn't.
No.
Shocking, right?
Did you have to take a loan for milk?
Eggs.
Eggs.
Definitely for eggs.
Eggs. All right. So here's my thought on interest rates. It might be great that you have a 2% interest rate,
Right.
right?
It's good. That's a low interest rate.
But what if you can't afford your monthly payments?
True story.
You've got $1,000 a month on credit cards, or you've got $1,000 truck payment or whatever it is, and you're struggling every single month to make your bills.
Yeah.
What does it matter if you have a 2% interest rate on your house?
You're exactly right. We almost kind of forgot that we live in dollars, right?
We do.
But we, for whatever reason, we've been convinced that we live in terms of interest rate. But if we really paid attention to what we're spending across all of our debts, we'd be shocked to find that our probably combined average interest rate is well over 10%, especially if you have an excessive amount of debt.
100%. I mean, as interest rates have gone up on your vehicles.
Right.
Everyone thinks that interest rates, when the Fed raises interest rates, that just means mortgages.
Right.
Everyone thinks that. It's not the case.
No.
It's on your credit cards. These credit cards that might have been 16% last year are now 25%.
Right.
And did you know that if you're late on your payment, they can automatically increase your interest rate?
Yeah. And actually, I think even if you get closer to that balance, that limit, you keep raising that balance up, and then they have the ability to adjust the interest rate to cover the risk that they're taking.
Oh, 100%. I mean, there's so many caveats within interest rates for credit cards. It's unbelievable. Just think if we had those caveats.
Oh my goodness.
But that's one thing that drives me crazy, Chris, is that it seems like people just haven't just hold on to that interest rate to tell their neighbors.
You're exactly right.
To tell their neighbors, to tell their friends. Yes, you think, okay, I'm paying 2%. I don't want to add my credit cards into my house, right? People think that. But do you want to live paycheck to paycheck is my question.
Right.
Secondly, I've been at large companies. I've been at smaller companies, and they really all talk about how they're a family. And I've never really felt that family connection with any of these companies.
I know what you're saying.
They talk about it and they pride themselves on it, but they might have a couple family members up in the CEO box, right? But that's all that feels like family.
Yeah.
There's nepotism there.
True story.
There's things like that don't make the other employees feel like family.
That's true.
And FIMS, First Integrity Mortgage Services, truly feels and is family to me. So there might be a little nepotism again here, but I'm involved in it now. So, we have a set of core values and we've talked about these at nauseum.
Yeah.
And it's truly just a different feel here at First Integrity Mortgage Services.
It really is. First Integrity really does want to embrace the idea of family.
Mm-hmm.
And that means sticking up for each other, being there when we're hurting, being there when somebody's down or has a baby, whatever. We're there to jump in and help and take vacation. Shoot, if you're a loan officer that needs to take a vacation, we're there to be a family and make sure you get that time off, right?
And you guys have done that, already for me. I had a vacation shortly after I started, and everyone jumped in and helped.
Yep.
And it was absolutely terrific that I didn't have to worry about my business while I was gone with my family.
You shouldn't have to. You need that chance to recover, right?
You have to have it.
It is. You really need the chance to recoup, recover, and and step away from the business because it is a stressful business. We have so many pieces of the puzzle we're responsible for.
I mean, I don't even have any hair anymore, Chris, and this beard's going white.
I'm with you, buddy. I know, and you're only 32.
I know,
right? It's the crazy part of our business.
That's exactly right. But you're right, man. You need to take that downtime, and for you guys to be there for me so that I could take that downtime was absolutely terrific and outstanding.
Well, Tom, it's been worth it for us. It's been worth it for you, and we definitely appreciated having you aboard and being a part of our family.
Happy to be here, man.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you. Tom Lubiewski with First Integrity Mortgage Services, 314-780-4800.
Chris Sims with First Integrity Mortgage, 314-399-2656.